Hi, I'm Richard Bevan. I'm the co-founder of the Happiness Academy and author of the book Happiness Realised. And today on this video, we are going to talk about the different types of fear that we may experience. So let's be clear, fears are real, and fears are necessary, and they have their appropriate time and place where they should surface. The original purpose of fear was one of self-protection. When we were under some sort of imminent physical threat, the emotion of fear would kick in and it would trigger us to make a decision of should we stay and fight or should we take flight. So the original purpose of fear was one of being our friend, being our protector, making us take action in a given set of circumstances. As we've evolved, so has our relationship with the emotion of fear. And instead of fear being limited to helping us when we're sort of threatened with imminent physical danger, we've allowed ourselves to let fear take over our lives and become something where it's trying to protect not just our physical body, but also our egoic self. So we've allowed it to be something that stops us taking risks because we don't want to lose face or lose credibility. And in fact, actually fears become quite negative and people sort of stay in a pattern where they will not undertake new activities purely through fear of it not being successful. And they kind of hit a certain level of inertia, so they're unable to move forward. So to help us in our pursuit of realizing happiness, I like to break fears down into three categorizations. We have fears that we're born with, we have fears that we've been taught, and we have unhealthy self-generated fears. Now the fears that we're born with basically fall into two categories. One is the fear of falling, and two is the fear of loud sounds. Next is the fears that we have been taught. Now typically these will have been taught to us by external factors or sources. So things like our parents, our friends, our grandparents, our school teachers. And I would say typically these tend to be around things like people are afraid of the dark, people are scared of venomous creatures, or dogs, or being in restricted places. Now, predominantly, these will all be physical fears. So the fear of being harmed or the fear of being trapped. So what we can see again is those taught fears tend to be around some degree of self-preservation, so protecting us from physical harm. The area where we really get into problems with fears is what I call the unhealthy self-generated fears. And these are fears around trying to protect one's ego. So these kind of fears might be things like fear of rejection, fear of failure, maybe fear of uncertainty or fear of loneliness, maybe fear of change. As we can see, these are nothing to do with our physical well-being. They're all to do with our kind of egoic well-being. And these are the fears that we really need to examine and look to stamp out so we can kind of flourish with our lives and continue with the realization of being happy. These unhealthy self-generated fears are not real. They are things that you've created in your mind. They can't be real in the sense of original fear because it's not something that's happening to you right now. It's something that you're fearful of that's going to happen in the future. So this is where we need to really examine the fears that you've made up for yourself. So exercise for today's video, what I want you to do is think about those unhealthy self-generated fears that you've created, and I want you to identify 5 and also work out what they are stopping you from doing. Right, thanks for watching.